Have you ever stepped into a room and instantly felt the temperature shift, not physically, but energetically? No one turned their head, no one spoke your name, but something unmistakable happened. The air thickened, conversations thinned, people straightened their backs without knowing why. That wasn't your imagination. That wasn't your ego. That was your energy, your aura. It entered before you did. It introduced you before you said a word. It sent a silent but thunderous message. I'm not here to disappear. I'm here to be felt. Carl Jung once said, "The psyche transcends the body." What he meant is this: you are not just a collection of bones and breath. You are frequency. You are vibration. You are a walking signature of energy. And when that energy is authentic, pure, and aligned, it doesn't enter a space. It transforms it. You become the one who exposes the artificial without trying and wakes up the one still pretending to sleep. You're not loud. You're not demanding. You are simply real. And real. Before we go deeper, if this already resonates with your soul, don't just scroll. Like this video. Subscribe for more truth-centered content and drop the words "I feel this" in the comments. Let the algorithm and the universe both know you're not here to blend in. You're here to awaken. In this message, we're going to uncover 13 signs that prove you are not ordinary. Your energy isn't passive, it's prophetic, it's disruptive, it's divine. So if you've ever wondered why you don't blend in, why people act differently around you, even when you're silent, this is your confirmation. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to shift atmospheres. Let's begin. Sign 1. Your presence is loud, even in silence. Have you ever entered a space and felt every eye turn without a word being said? The energy tenses. The room inhales. People glance, adjust, or get uncomfortable. But you haven't even spoken. That's not about status or style. That's energetic presence. When your spirit is in alignment, your silence speaks volumes. You don't need to explain yourself. Your frequency does that for you. It walks in like a statement. I am not here to entertain. I am here to exist fully. People feel you before they know your name. They don't remember your words. They remember the weight of your stillness. Some will feel peace, others resistance. That's the power of presence. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask. It demands people either rise to it or reveal themselves running from it. Why does this happen? Because your psyche, your soul, arrives long before your footsteps. Your aura introduces you with quiet confidence. It doesn't need applause. It simply is. In a world addicted to noise and pretending, your stillness echoes truth. And truth is hard to ignore. You don't chase attention, but your presence interrupts the norm. And when you show up in that kind of alignment, it doesn't just shake the room. It redefines it. People sense it. They don't always know what it is, but they feel it in their gut. That's your energy. Pure, potent, real. You are not remembered for what you wore or how you spoke. You are remembered for how people felt in your presence. Because in a world full of roles, masks, and noise, someone who walks in as themselves. That's unforgettable. Sign 2. You trigger the shadows. They try to hide. Have you ever noticed how some people instantly like you while others seem unsettled, even when you've said nothing at all? They either lean in with fascination or pull back with quiet discomfort. You're not imagining it. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just being real, and in a world built on illusion, that alone is revolutionary. Your presence acts like a spiritual mirror. It doesn't reflect how people want to be seen. It reveals who they truly are. When someone is wearing a mask, your energy exposes the cracks. When someone is hiding from their own pain, your light shines on it without effort. You're not provoking. You're not confronting. You're just existing, authentically. And authenticity In a world addicted to performance can feel like an earthquake. Carl Jung once said, "The shadow is everything you refuse to acknowledge about yourself. And whether you mean to or not, you bring that shadow to the surface. You don't have to call it out. You don't have to say a word. Your vibe alone makes people feel seen, and that's either healing or terrifying, depending on where they are in their journey. People who haven't faced themselves will often mislabel you. Too intense, too confident, too much. But what they really mean is, I'm not ready to meet my own reflection. And your presence makes hiding impossible. That's why you feel misunderstood sometimes, because you walk through life carrying a light that uncovers what others are still trying to bury. But don't shrink. Don't apologize. Don't dim the very thing that makes you different. You didn't come here to protect people from their wounds. You came here to remind them those wounds are ready to be healed. Your energy doesn't just reveal, it invites. It says, you don't have to run anymore. You can face it now. So let them react. Let them distance themselves. Let them call you names. They don't even understand. That's not your burden. That's their awakening. You are not a threat. You are a call to truth. And only the brave will answer it. Sign 3. Animals, children, and nature trust you instinctively. Have you ever noticed how animals wander up to you without hesitation? How a child in a store locks eyes with you and smiles as if they already know you? How the breeze seems softer when you walk alone? That's not random. That's resonant. Your energy speaks in a language purer than words, and the most unfiltered parts of the world respond. Animals don't care about your resume. Children don't care about your appearance. Nature doesn't care about your status. These forces don't fall for masks. They don't need logic to sense your vibration. They feel whether you are aligned, chaotic, grounded, or pretending. And when your energy is clear, calm, and real, they respond in kind, without hesitation, without judgment, with trust. A stray dog sitting near your feet. A bird chirping louder when you pass. A toddler reaching out to you with zero fear. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. You are in tune. And that tune hums louder than anything your mouth could ever say. You don't have to perform to earn their connection. You simply are. And that is enough. You see, the modern world rewards performance. But the natural world rewards presence. And you, without effort, embody presence. The type that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't manipulate. It just exists in harmony. And harmony is rare. That's why the wild trusts you. That's why children feel safe around you. That's why a quiet field feels more alive when you're in it. Because you're not carrying noise. You're not radiating chaos. You are walking truth. And truth, real, calm, embodied truth, whispers to all creation, you're safe here. So don't underestimate these moments. The dog that laid at your feet. The child who climbed into your lap without fear. The trees that seem to hold their breath as you pass. These are sacred affirmations. In a world where humans often misunderstand what's real, nature never does, and it has always known who you are. Sign 4. You intimidate without saying a word. You don't walk in with loud footsteps. You don't demand attention. You simply enter a space with calm confidence. And yet, the atmosphere changes. People shift in their seats. They laugh a little too hard. Their posture stiffens. Their eyes dart. It's not because you're trying to assert power. It's because you carry something rare, unshakable self-awareness. In a world trained to mistake noise for strength, your silence feels like thunder. Your stillness speaks volumes. You don't have to raise your voice to make an impact. You don't posture or boast. You simply exist in truth, and that truth unsettles people who are still performing. They feel your presence like a mirror, and suddenly, all their masks feel heavy. You're not intimidating because you want to be. You're intimidating because you refuse to pretend. You don't play along with games of validation. You don't shrink for approval. And that kind of calm power, it scares people who've never been in the room with it before. Some will avoid your gaze. Some will talk over you to regain control. Some will even project their discomfort onto you, labeling you cold, distant, or arrogant. But none of that is about you. It's about what your energy reveals in them. Your quiet truth exposes the loud insecurity they've been hiding. But don't let that shake you. Because the ones who've done the inner work, they'll recognize you. They'll see the wisdom behind your stillness, the grace behind your restraint, the strength it took to get here without the need to shout. So keep being you. Keep walking in truth. Because while others chase attention, you radiate presence. And presence, the real kind, doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. And when that's what you bring into a room, the real ones will be drawn to you, and the rest will either rise or run. Sign 5. You shift the energy of any room without trying. You walk in casually, maybe just looking for a seat, or scanning the room for a familiar face. But something changes, even before you speak. The volume drops a little, conversations slow, heads turn subtly. People become aware without understanding why. It's not something you're doing, it's something you are. Your energy doesn't just enter, it rearranges. You're not commanding attention through force, you're not trying to steal the spotlight. But the moment you step into a space, your frequency announces itself. Not loudly, not rudely, but undeniably. Because what you carry is rare. Aligned presence, truthful vibration. Clean, unshakable energy. And that energy cannot go unnoticed. You're not just a person, you're a catalyst. Your aura carries memories, wisdom, and presence that speaks louder than words. It shifts whatever is false. It nudges masks to fall. It awakens something ancient in those around you, something they may not even know they've been missing. They feel it in their gut before their mind can catch up. You might wonder why people start acting differently around you, fumbling words, growing quiet, or staring longer than they should. It's not you they're reacting to. It's themselves. It's the way your energy reflects what they haven't confronted. You didn't disturb the room. You revealed it. You showed what was already there, just beneath the surface. That's what happens when you carry alignment in your soul. You become a living mirror, an energetic reminder of what's real. You don't force the truth, you are the truth. And truth, even in its softest form, shakes the illusions people have grown used to. So if you've ever walked into a space and felt it rearrange without knowing why, understand this. It's not coincidence, it's resonance. You're not just showing up, you're awakening the air. And not everyone will understand it. But energy never lies. And yours? It's unforgettable. Signs. 6. You read people without needing words. You walk into a room, and everything looks fine on the surface. Smiles, small talk, casual greetings. But something doesn't sit right. You feel it before anyone says a word. There's a tightness in the air, a subtle weight behind someone's laughter, a flicker of unease in their glance. You can't always explain it, but you know. That's not paranoia. That's perception. You aren't just reading what people say. You're feeling what they don't. You're tuned in to frequencies most ignore. It's not magic. It's not mind reading. It's awareness, an awareness that comes from the deep inner work you've done, the healing, the introspection, the brutal honesty. You cleared the static in yourself, so now you pick up on everything others try to hide. Carl Jung called it symbolic perception, a sensitivity to emotional signals, not words. And you've mastered it without effort. A fake compliment, a forced smile, a hidden agenda. You catch all of it instantly. You don't need long conversations. You don't even need eye contact. Your energy knows before your mind does. And because of this, surface-level talk drains you. Pretending exhausts you. Being around people who wear masks, makes your spirit itch. You crave real. You crave depth. You crave conversations that say, I see you, even in your mess. Let's meet there. But not everyone is ready for that. So they call you intense. They say you're too serious. They misunderstand your silence as distance, when in truth, you're just waiting for the space to get honest. You're not cold. You're not antisocial. You're tuned in. And once your spirit learned to speak energy, you lost the ability to tolerate anything that doesn't match truth. That's not a flaw. That's your gift. So trust that inner knowing. Don't doubt what you feel, even when others act like it's not real. Because while they're busy trying to sound right, you're already standing in what's real. Signs. 7. Small talk drains you. Depth refuels you. You smile. You nod. You go through the motions. Crazy weather today, huh? Did you see what happened on that show? You respond politely, but inside, something tightens. It's not shyness. It's not rudeness. It's exhaustion. Because every word that dances around the surface feels like it's pulling you further away from what's real. You're not built for empty conversation. You don't thrive in polite noise. You're not here to chat about office gossip or someone's third cousin's vacation. Your soul craves more. You want to ask the kind of questions that make people pause. You want to talk about the parts of themselves they've buried, the dreams they've silenced, the fears they've never said aloud. Because your presence doesn't want to skim, it wants to dive. You weren't made to float through life numb. You were made to feel, to connect, to awaken. And when a conversation stays locked on the surface, your energy starts to dim. It feels like static in your field, disorienting, disjointed, disconnected. You'd rather sit in silence with someone who's real than fake a smile in a room full of noise. Because you can feel when someone is speaking from their mask instead of their heart, and you can't unfeel it. This is why some people don't understand you. They think you're hard to talk to, that you're too intense, that you go too deep. But they don't realize you're not being dramatic. You're being honest. And in a world that's grown used to pretending, honesty feels like pressure. But when you find someone who speaks the same language, the one behind words, it's different. It's like oxygen, like finally being heard. And in that connection, you remember this is why you never settled for shallow. This is why you always chose truth, even when it meant being alone. You weren't made for small talk. You were made to stir souls. And the ones who are ready, they'll meet you in that space, where the words are fewer, but the truth is louder than ever. Signs. 8. People project their darkness onto you. You walk in with calm, with kindness, with presence. You don't ask for attention. You don't push your energy. But something happens. People change. Their tone stiffens. Their smiles falter. Some go cold without warning. And you're left wondering, did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. What you did was exist in truth. And truth, even unspoken, can shake the entire room. Not everyone is ready for that. Some are holding tightly to versions of themselves built on illusion, on masks, wounds, and denial. And when your light walks in, it shines on what they've kept hidden. You don't even mean to confront them, but your presence becomes a mirror they weren't ready to face. So they project, they twist your words, they challenge your intentions. They call you arrogant, fake, or too much. But it's not about you. It's about what you reflect back to them. Your honesty exposes their avoidance. Your peace stirs their inner chaos. Your wholeness makes their fragmentation hard to ignore. And for some, that's unbearable. You become the target, not because you're a threat, but because you're the truth. And truth has never been welcomed easily, especially in spaces that depend on pretending. But hear this clearly. You are not responsible for their reaction. You didn't cause their darkness, you just made it harder for them to deny it. That's not a curse. That's a calling. Because your energy isn't here to be digested by the masses. It's here to filter, to cleanse, to protect your own peace, and to guide the ready into something real. So if people walk away, let them. If they throw stones, let them. You didn't come here to be misunderstood. You came here to be unforgettable. And your energy will only resonate with what's authentic enough to stand beside it. Stay true. Stay aligned. Stay lit. The ones who can't handle your glow, they were never meant to walk with you in the light. Signs. 9. Your silence is louder than their noise. You don't raise your voice. You don't interrupt. You don't try to outshine anyone. And still, your presence commands the room, not through volume, but through gravity. While others scramble to be heard, you remain still, observing, listening, and somehow, your silence says more than their speeches ever could. You've discovered something most never do. Silence is power. Not the silence of weakness or submission, but the silence of someone who's made peace with themselves. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to be validated. You are grounded. You are present. And that unsettles people who confuse noise with influence. They get louder. They fill the room with fluff. They laugh too much. Talk too fast. Because silence makes them nervous. It exposes the emptiness beneath their noise. And you just sit there, calm, still, sovereign, watching the room without judgment. But they feel it. Your energy, your truth, and they don't know what to do with it. You've realized that power isn't in how much you speak, it's in what you carry, before you ever open your mouth. Your stillness makes people rethink their masks. Your silence forces them to confront their performance. And though they may call you cold or distant, you're not detached. You're just aligned. That quiet in your eyes, that pause before you speak, it's not hesitation. It's mastery. You've learned to hold space without needing to fill it, to speak without making a sound. And the deepest part of others feels that even when their ego tries to deny it. So, while they rush to be the loudest, remember this: still waters run deep. And your silence, it doesn't ask for attention. It commands respect. Keep holding that frequency. Because in a world addicted to noise, your silence is revolutionary. Signs 10. You attract the real and repel the fake instantly. With you, there's no in-between. People either lean in, feeling safe, seen, and strangely at home, or they pull away without knowing why. That's not by accident. That's your energy acting as a filter. You're not performing. You're not adjusting yourself to fit in. You're simply being raw, grounded, and real. And real is magnetic to those who are done pretending. But it's unbearable for those still holding on to masks. Some people will meet you and feel permission to be themselves. No judgment. No pressure. Just a silent invitation. You can be who you really are here. Others will feel exposed. Not because you said anything, but because your presence shows them the version of themselves they've been avoiding. You don't speak the language of fakeness. You don't tolerate manipulation, performance, or pretense. So your energy quietly draws a line, and only the real may cross it. It's not about arrogance. It's about boundaries. And your soul has learned to honor its peace over popularity. So if someone falls away without explanation, trust it. You didn't lose them. Their energy just couldn't stand next to your truth. Signs. 11. You carry a warrior's calm. You don't walk like someone who's never struggled. You walk like someone who's conquered things no one ever saw. Your peace isn't passive, it's earned. You've stood in fire and didn't just survive. You became refined by it. That's why people feel something different around you. Not fear, not bravado. Power. You don't need to prove your strength. You are strength. Calm. Measured. Rooted. You've been through storms that would have broken others. You've sat in your shadows and made peace with them. You've learned that real power isn't loud. It's control. and that makes you dangerous in all the right ways. You don't flinch. You don't overreact. You respond, thoughtfully, intentionally, because you know who you are. And that clarity, it echoes through every space you enter. They may not know your story, but they'll feel it in your stillness. Signs. 12. You heal without trying. You don't have a script. You don't offer perfect advice. And yet, people feel lighter around you. Safer, seen, like they can exhale for the first time in a long time. And you're not even trying. Your presence carries a frequency that says, you don't have to pretend here. And in a world where most people are performing to survive, that kind of presence is a sanctuary. But your healing doesn't stop at soothing. It also awakens. It makes people reflect. It gently challenges their illusions. It stirs up buried truths. Some will lean into it. Others will run. But no one leaves unchanged. Because you don't just offer comfort, you offer clarity. And that, more than anything, is what true healing begins with. Signs. 13. You were born to disturb what's fake. You've felt it all your life. That tension, that resistance, that sense that you don't quite fit in with spaces built on pretending. And that's because you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to reveal. You weren't designed to be neutral. You were designed to shake illusions. Your very existence calls out the fake. Not with noise, not with conflict, but by simply being what they are not. Authentic. You don't expose the lie by pointing at it. You expose it by walking in truth. And that truth, it disturbs, it disrupts, it demands people wake up. You were never meant to be easy to digest. You were meant to stir souls. And when your aura collides with something false, it doesn't stay standing for long. So stop apologizing for your presence. Stop softening your truth to keep the peace. You were born to change the frequency of every room you walk into, and the ones who are meant to rise with you, they'll feel that. They'll recognize you. If this message stirred something deep inside you, it's because you've always known your energy is not here to play small. It's here to be felt, to be seen, to be heard, without needing to shout. If you're done shrinking to fit spaces that were never built for your light, subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs the reminder. And if you know your aura is powerful, type "I am aligned and unapologetic" in the comments. Because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of your real becoming. And we're rising together. Welcome to the tribe.